Howdy peeps, and welcome back to the channel. Where are you today, Sharp? Today we're at a church. Yeah, St Nicholas's in Woodrising. And I just remembered I left my notes in my bag, so rummage. Ooh. One of these. That one, I think. Yes, we have notes. Now, I stood here in the entrance porch, a resting place for weary pilgrims. That's why churches have these. And as you can see on the floor, big old piles of birdie poop. Ye olde door. That's because up above us we have several nests from what I believe are either house martins or swifts. So let's get to ye noties, shall we? Because there's some interesting stuff here. Get hold of the camera properly. So St Nicholas's in Woodrising is a medieval church, mostly dating to the 14th century, but there is a late Saxon era burial that was found in the graveyard. So it's been used for a long time. It's grade 1 listed, and the bell frame, strangely, is listed as grade 2. Why is that, you ask, Sharp? Why would the bell frame be separately listed? Well, I can't actually see because of the sunlight, but that's where the tower used to be, and it kind of collapsed and got left as it was, which, you know, is a tiny little hamlet, not really even a village. And given it would have happened around the time that the Black Death was a big thing in this part of the world, and then, you know, Henry VIII and all that kind of stuff, Reformations, it was the money just wasn't there to replace it. So now it's a pretty and overgrown ruin. And when the tower did collapse, the bell frame was moved to the corner of the graveyard and placed under a bell cote, or a bell cot, like a dovecot or dovecote, whichever way you want to pronounce it. And it also has a 19th century bell in it. Oh dear. Trying to read, watch where I'm pointing the camera, and watch where I'm putting my feet as well. It's not easy. Now we can't get in because it is locked. And I didn't want to be calling the church warden for the key just to get them to come up here just for me to wander around with the camera inside for 10 minutes. It kind of seems a bit of a waste of someone's time. But the interior is asymmetric, with the west end taken up by a narrow gallery. The top is one of East Anglia's 6 surviving church barrel organs. And the benches themselves are 19th century attempts at a late medieval look. It's apparently well kept but slightly ramshackle, and a collection of bits from every century. So it's not exactly uniform, but you know, that gives it its own sense of character and interest. Everything identical doesn't seem to be a problem, really. Not to me. I kind of don't like it when everything is exactly the same. Ooh. Now we get onto the interesting-y stuffs. Ooh, no. Yeah, nearly got nettled. As you can see, we are deep in the Norfolk countryside again. Yes, biting flies everywhere. Graves dating back to the 1800s easily that I've seen, and as I said, there are some Saxon burials. Now on the north side of the chancel there is a 1564 effigy of Richard Southwell, who was described as a not nice person, unscrupulous, vain, treacherous, and self-serving. Adopted by the Duke of York. No, there weren't 10,000 men. The Duke of Norfolk, so probably more than 10,000 men. After his father's death, he was brought up with Henry Howard, the Earl of Surrey, whom he betrayed to the authorities in 1547. Surrey was then executed for treason. And again, we're back in the time when being a Roman Catholic was illegal in the UK. Well, in England anyway, the UK didn't exist back then. Very, very old and probably original door. Whilst Surrey was executed for treason, Southwell went on to achieve power and fame. The Southwells are mostly remembered for Richard's grandson Robert, who returned to Catholicism. He went to the continent to train for the priesthood, and when he returned he was a Jesuit priest. In 1594, however, this was considered fair game by the authorities, and despite being of noble birth, being a Roman Catholic, or Jesuit, anything that wasn't Church of England, he was captured, tortured, and interrogated. Sure sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? But then, and there's the bell cut. We'll go have a look under that in a minute. Then on the 21st of February in 1595, he was led out to die at Tyburn. Hung by the neck till almost unconscious, he was then cut down, his genitals removed and his bowels unwound, which were then burnt in front of him. His arms and legs were then hacked off, and he was finally beheaded at just 34 years old. However, in delicious irony, Henry Howard's grandson Philip also became a Catholic, but he died in prison before he could be executed. In 1970, Pope Paul VI added both to the canon of saints as two of the blessed martyrs of England and Wales. So yeah, quite a storied history. I may be wrong, but I think that might be the marking stone. It's either a marking stone for the Saxon burial or a well cover, one or the other. So here we are with a thatched bellcote, whatever. So underneath this, and it is labelled as a conservation area because it is under active conservation by the church's trust. And we'll see if the camera will pick it up. But under you can see all the original timbers and the replacement bell from the 19th century. So there we go. That's about it for the church itself. Well, got a few things, a couple of extra things while we're out here in nature. English plants that are toxic, dangerous, murderous even. Well, we have the good old-fashioned stinging nettle, which everyone knows and loathes. Next are dock leaves, but don't believe what they say, dock leaves do absolutely nothing. for stinging nettle stings. So I'm being very careful walking across here. Not the ground elder I'm worried about getting rubbed on my legs, although that can leave a rash. Really don't want to get stung by stinging nettles. And so here's a better angle of where the tower was. And we've got some lovely wild dog roses and nettles growing on the rubble pile, basically. And sycamores and elder trees, and yeah, so yes, sharp. Yes, we know that stinging nettles sting is kind of in the name. What are you on about with toxic plants? Well, here's a euphorbia. I don't recall the scientific name. The sap from that is highly alkaloid, and it will burn you badly. You do not want to get it on you, and you certainly do not want to get it in you. And there's another one just around here, right in the entrance. Just about finished flowering now. The foxglove, digitalis purpurea. Absolutely gorgeous plant. However, digitalis might give you a clue. It contains digitoxin, which was, it's still used to this day actually in heart medicine. And if you don't have heart issues and you take digitalis, you will have heart issues. And thankfully I didn't get stung by the bees either, because just the other side of the church there is actually a wild beehive, so best to avoid that. Anyway, let's get this thing turned back around again, because that will conclude our tour of St. Nicholas's. If you've got any questions, comments, things you might like to add about my shoddy camera work, difficulty breathing, yeah, anything, stick them down below, somewhere down there in the commenting section. While you're down there, click like, subscribe. If you're feeling really generous, join, become a Zach friend. But yeah, I mean, I know I normally struggle breathing anyway, but it's massive hay fever season, and I just cycled 10 miles to get here. So we shall leave with this. Pause, thou that enterest here. Light be thy tread, lowly thy voice, where sleep the tired dead. God's acre this and theirs, the flowers and trees, all on them, do not thou injure these. Someday thou too must die, remember this, and thou and thine shall never do amiss. Well, that's a slightly grim note. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, enjoy your hobbies, enjoy your history. Peace out, rock on. Bye bye.